I just want to take a moment of my time to really talk a little bit deeper about this MSI situation. Okay. So EU and MSI, if we don't even talk about the analysis of the game and the gameplay, which is already like a very big part of the conversation, right? If we look at the facts, so to speak, okay? Because sure, gameplay can be subjective, right? Even though as an expert I can claim that it's not, right? Because I'm seeing things. But nevertheless, let's not look at gameplay, okay? EU at MSI, first and foremost, we have a two patch jump to 13.8. And looking at the patch notes, some things remain the same, some things are changed. It can be open for interpretation. But the fact that there's two major patches changing coming into MSI is already a big deal. Because even if one champion is out or one champion is in, it can change the dynamic of draft. All of a sudden you need to prepare answers to others. And then all of a sudden champions that used to be good maybe are worse, and then everything changes. Right? This is very important to highlight that sometimes a single champion being in the meta or outside of the meta can really impact every champion that you pick elsewhere too. So 2-patch jump 13.8 is already a really big deal. The second issue, right? So basically they have this 2-patch jump. The second issue is just the time. So you are then, if you play the finals, okay? Let's say with G2, we play the finals, we go to finals, let's say we lose the finals because currently BDS is looking like the stronger team. We then have to play play-ins as G2. And we also played the final in our region, okay? So the 23rd, let me just double check that date. The 23rd is a Sunday, and that is the day of the finals. And MSI is scheduled to start 2nd May. 2nd May is a Tuesday. So let's say now you need to travel to London, so that's a plus, it's not that far, okay? You probably have to have some kind of a rest day to recuperate after a triple best of 5. Right? You need to kind of recuperate. I wouldn't expect my players. It's like there's no benefit to jumping into scrims right away, right after a grueling, best of 5 weekend. Right? There's no point in doing that. It's just not going to benefit you. You need to recover. You need to reset and you need to recover. Right? 2nd May is where play-ins start, and if we count the days from Sunday the 23rd to the 2nd May, it's, if we are generous, maybe like 5 days, 5 days of preparation. Five days of preparation. Okay. You could say, okay, you did play competitive matches, you are in tune with your gameplay, and there's maybe not a lot of things to practice. You need to focus on champs. Sure, you can make that argument, right? But that is tough. That is tough in comparison to all the other major regions that finished, right? They all finished, and they had time to take a break, a healthy break, and they have time to prepare on the new patch. And they also have a lot of other teams within their regions that are incentivized to practice on the latest patch, right? That's a super big deal. Right now, as finals finish up, usually the teams in China and in Korea, they begin to ramp up and they begin to practice. Another layer of this, right? If we talk about the other regions have zero incentives to fly in early to London besides dealing with jet lag. They're going to come in late. They will come in late. Another layer of this, right, is that right now you have the situation where the Korean and the Chinese teams can actually scrim each other and improve each other, and they're walking into this tournament way more prepared. Way more prepared. Insanely much more prepared. we look back at the fact that the LEC had a break week. That's ridiculous that the break week was in place. Another layer of this, right, that I need to address is that every other major region is sending two finalists. Two finalists that were determined in probably the best way possible. Every region has double elimination. Okay? So the two best teams were definitely sent from each region. And the recency of that result is so important. Europe has created this structure where they want to reward teams who are doing well in the winter split. But what does your level in the winter split really have anything to do with your level coming into the mid-season invitational? All I'm saying is that this is going to be one of the hardest tournaments ever for Europe. And this is without talking about gameplay. I haven't even talked about anything gameplay related. Do I think that Genji, T1, JDG, and of course Bilibili, I think that these four teams are definitely better than any Western team. So, but my opinion on that doesn't matter. I'm just sharing the facts about the format. It was the same for us, right? Last year, when we went to Worlds last year, we had a situation where we had, I believe, a little bit more than a week to prepare. And that is after doing a long-ass gauntlet run, after fighting for our survival for weeks on weeks, okay? So it's like we were fighting for our survival for like 5 weeks straight of pressure-filled gameplay. And then we played in the finals. So basically the finals, the way it works is that you have the lower bracket finals and then the winner plays the winner bracket winner, right? So in our case we lost against Rogue, which meant that we had to play play-ins. So we made Worlds and we played play-ins, and as mentioned before, it's like we had media obligations because sponsorships run the world, right? You have to do your media obligations. Same thing for these teams too. You think G2 and whoever else is going to be sent, they don't have media obligations? For sure they do. For sure they do. And then they're going to have media obligations from Riot too, because they want to build storylines, you know, Faker against Caps or whatever you may have it, right? So that's also going to be days spent. And then additionally, you have the risk of potential illness, right? That can happen too. Our whole team got COVID. Obviously, things have calmed down, but there is a certain element of risk when everything is so tightly scheduled. And I think that just to summarize my point, I believe that Europe is heading into this tournament in the worst conditions possible, and that is without talking a single point about the players and the teams. Just from the setup, the scheduling, the logistics, everything around it, the most difficult tournament ever. Another layer of all of this, right? Another layer of all of this is the MSI format. So for those who don't know, the MSI format is basically the European format without the BO1s. Okay? So basically, play-ins is going to be a BO3 format where if you win 2 in a row, then you qualify to the main event. If you win 1, lose 1, and then win 1 again, I think that then you play a final for a spot at the main event because 5 teams auto-qualify. So there's only 3 spots. So that is one difference. Is that either you win 2 back-to-back best of 3s, or you win 1 and then lose and then win. because there will be like a final of the loser bracket winners. Okay? Because there's only 3 spots from play-ins. The Korean teams auto qualify. So basically you have Seed 1 NA, Seed 1 LPL, Seed 1 LCK, Seed 2 LCK, and then EU. Seed 1 EU. Those are the 5 teams that auto go to the tournament. The reason I'm bringing this up is there is no room for fluke victories. There's no room for fluke victories. In a double elimination, you get away with bullshit once. The best teams win. The best teams win, ladies and gentlemen. And that is an additional layer of how gruesome this format is going to be. So, I don't mean to break your spirit if you're a European fan, okay? I don't mean to break your spirit. All I'm saying is, if Europe manages to do well, okay, and Europe is competitive, damn, that is something to celebrate, man. That is going to be top class, okay? If G2 BDS do well and they take games and series off of the Eastern teams, damn, that is something to celebrate. That is something to juice up. Because maybe, just maybe, you know, after all of this, you know, maybe the other teams are going to struggle with jet lag or whatever the hell, all right? Maybe they don't like beans on toast, you know? There is definitely elements that the other teams have to deal with, okay? But the thing is, these teams are so fucking rich, they're flying in their personal chefs and whatever the fuck, man. They've got the juice. They've got the juice, my man. Sadly, we cannot deploy our secret weapons. We cannot deploy the bows or all of these people that will make the Eastern teams go insane while playing solo queue, because the window of solo queue is too narrow. They're not going to play that much solo queue being here. I can tell you this much, right? When we were in North America, I can tell you Genji's schedule. Genji's schedule was wake up, scrim, eat, scrim, 1v1, 2v2s. There was no room for solo queue. Nothing. Their schedule was brutal. They ate food. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. MSI will still be fun. MSI will be fun. It's gonna be good. Don't be discouraged. What was Fnatic's schedule? Cancel Scream, cancel Scream. Eat burgers. Honestly, burger in Mexico was insane. Catch you on the flippity flop, guys.